The champagne glass clinked once, twice, three times. The sound was sharp, high-pitched. It cut through the low hum of the jazz music playing in the banquet. Hallie felt Mateo's hand tighten around mine under the white tablecloth. His palm was sweaty. He was nervous. He always got nervous when his mother stood up. I didn't look at him. I couldn't take my eyes off her. Elena, my new mother-in-law, stood at the head table. Looking like a queen who had just conquered a small, insignificant country. She was wearing red, bright, blood red silk. Everyone knows you don't wear red to a wedding unless you want to outshine the bride or unless you want to signal war. She adjusted the microphone stand. Her nails were long, painted a dark burgundy. They looked like talons. She smiled. It was that smile, the one that didn't reach her eyes, the one that showed too many teeth. The room went silent. 200 guests turned to face Hermie. Heart hammered against my ribs. It felt like a trapped burden. Do it. I prayed silently. Just be normal for one day, just one day. Good evening, everyone, Elena said. Her English was perfect, heavily accented. Yes, but polished. She had practiced this part. I look at my son today, she continued, turning her gaze to Mateo. Her eyes softened, just a fraction, and I see a man, a strong man, a man who has made his own choices. Mateo squeezed my hand harder. He was beaming. He loved her approval. He craved it like a drug. And Elena said, turning her head slowly, her eyes locked onto me. The softness vanished. It was like looking into the barrel of a loaded gun. And he has chosen Sarah. She said my name like it was a piece of gristle she couldn't quite chew. There was a polite ripple of applause. I forced the corners of my mouth up. My face hurt from smiling for 6 hours straight. Sarah, Elena repeated, so blonde, so American. A few people chuckled. They thought it was a joke. Acknowledging the cultural difference, I didn't chuckle. I saw the twitch in her left eyebrow. I want to make a toast, she said, raising her glass high. The bubbles fizzed gold in the light. To my son and to the patience he will need. She paused for effect. Then she switched. She looked out at her side of the family, the tables filled with aunts, uncles, cousins from overseas. Pork Dios sabe que via necesitar paciencia, she said in Spanish, her voice dropping an octave. Smooth, fast translation. Because God knows he's going to need patience. The family laughed, a genuine, hearty laugh. Mateo laughed too. He nudged me. She's funny, right? He whispered. I kept my smile frozen, plastered on. See, Elena continued, her eyes sliding back to me. She looked me up and down, staring right at my wedding dress. Pobre mío se casó con una vaca pálida que no serve para nada. Translation. Poor son, he married a pale cow who is good for nothing. The laughter from her side of the room grew louder. Mateo's cousin, Julian, slapped the table, wiping a tear from his eye. Mateo smiled at me. Clueless, she's welcoming you to the family. Babe, it's a traditional blessing. I felt the blood drain from my face. My stomach twisted into a cold, hard knot. Why Myra es vestido? Elena purred into the microphone, gesturing at my lace bodice with her glass. Parece que lo compro en la basura que vergüenza. Translation. And look at that dress. It looks like she bought it in the trash. What a shame. To the happy couple, she shouted suddenly in English, beaming radiantly to the couple. The room echoed. Glasses raised. Alcohol was consumed. Mateo leaned in and kissed my cheek. See? I told you she'd come around. She loves you. I looked at him, my husband, the man I had just promised my life to. He had no idea what she had just said. He barely spoke the language himself, losing it after childhood, but I knew. I looked back at Elena. She was sipping her champagne, watching me over the rim of the glass. Her eyes were mocking, triumphant. She thought I was just the gringa, the white girl from the suburbs, the girl who only spoke English and maybe a few words of high school French. She thought she was safe. She thought she could humiliate me in front of half the guest list, right to my face, and I would just sit there and smile like an idiot. She put her glass down. She blew me a kiss. I caught ID, didn't let my smile falter for a second. I picked up my own glass. I took a slow sip. Enjoy it, Elena, I thought. The bubbles burning my throat. Enjoy your victory lap. Because she didn't know about my stepmother. She didn't know about the 10 summers I spent in Guadalajara. She didn't know that I understood every single poisonous, hateful syllable that just came out of her mouth, and she definitely didn't know that I was going to make her regret it. But not yet. Tonight was for observation. I squeezed Mateo's hand back. Your mother is delightful, I lied. The war had just begun. To understand why I didn't flip the table right then and there? You have to understand the mask you've worn it my whole life. I have pale skin, blue eyes, hair the color of straw. I look like I was built in a factory that produces generic American girls. People look at me and they assume things they assume I like. Pumpkin spice lattes? Actually, they assume I can't dance and they assume I only speak one language, but when I was 7 years old, my dad remarried Lucia. Lucia was warmth and fire and loud music on Sunday mornings. She didn't try to be my mom. She just tried to be my friend, and she was stubborn in this house. Sarah, she told me on day one, pointing a wooden spoon at me. We speak the language of the soul. She refused to speak English to me after school at first. I hated it, I cried. I threw tantrums, but Lucia was patient. She taught me with songs with telenovelas with gossip in the kitchen while we made empanadas. By the time I was 12, I was dreaming in Spanish. By the time I was 18, I could switch accents. I could sound like I was from Mexico City or like I was from the countryside. It was our secret superpower when I met Mateo 3 years ago. I almost told him we met at a coffee shop. He spilled his Americano on my laptop. Classic meet cute. Was frantic, apologizing profusely. Oh God. I'm so sorry. I'm such an idiot. He stammered. I looked at his dark curls, his kind eyes. I saw his last name on his credit card when he offered to pay Rivera. It's okay. I said we started dating on our third date. He brought up his family. My mom, she's intense, he warned me. She's very traditional, very protective. Is she? I asked. Yeah, she always wanted me to marry a Latina girl. Someone who understands the culture. He looked down at his hands. I don't really speak Spanish anymore, he admitted, sounding ashamed. I understand a little, like the bad words and the food. But my mom, she never really taught me. She said if we were in America. We speak English, but now she complains that I'm too Americanized. I watched him carefully. If I told him I was fluent, he would tell her, and if she knew I spoke her language, she would be careful, she would be polite. Fake I wanted to know who she really was. It was a test, a dangerous one. That's okay, I said softly, touching his arm. I'm sure we'll get along. Love is a universal language, right? God. I was naive. I thought the test would last a month, maybe 2. I didn't think I would be keeping this secret for 3 years. I didn't think I would be undercover in my own marriage the first time I met Elena. The air in the room dropped 10 degrees. It was 6 months into dating Mateo. We went to her house for Sunday dinner. The house was immaculate, like a museum, not a speck of dust, plastic covers on the good lampshades. Mateo opened the door. Mama! We're here. Elena came out of the kitchen. She was wiping her hands on a dish towel. She was beautiful, intimidatingly so. She saw Mateo first. Her face lit up like a sunrise. She grabbed his face, kissed his cheeks. Mio, my handsome boy. Then she turned to me. The sunrise turned into an eclipse. Her eyes scanned me from my boots to my messy bun. This is Sarah, Mateo said proudly. Hi, Mrs. Rivera, I said, extending my hand. It's so nice to meet you. Mateo talks about you constantly. She looked at my hand. She didn't take it. Instead, she offered a stiff nod. Elena, she corrected. Mrs. Rivera is my mother-in-law, and she is dead. Oh, I'm sorry, I stammered, pulling my hand back. Come inside, she commanded. Don't let the air conditioning out. Electricity is not free. We sat at the dining table. The food smelled incredible. Roast chicken, rice, beans. Elena served Mateo first. She piled his plate high. The biggest piece of chicken, the most rice. Then she served herself. Then she put the bowl in the middle of the table. Help yourself, she said to me without looking. There were only wings and backs left. I didn't care. I was hungry. So, Sarah, Elena said, cutting her meat with surgical precision. What do you do? I'm a graphic designer, I said. I work for a marketing firm downtown. Elena made a small noise. HMPH, drawing pictures. She said, cute. It's a good career, Mama. Mateo defended. She designed the logo for that big tech company, you know, the one. Elena waved her hand dismissively. And your parents? What do they do? My dad is an accountant. My stepmom is a teacher. Stepmom, she repeated. Broken home, I see. I gripped my fork. They've been happily married for 20 years. Of course, she said. Then she looked at Mateo. Why esta isla cute? Gusta? She asked him in Spanish. Her voice was casual, like she was asking for the salt. Translation. And this is the one you like? Mateo looked confused. He caught the tone, but not the words. What, Mama? Nothing, she smiled. I asked if she likes the food. She looked at me. Do you like the food, Sarah? It's delicious, I said. Good. Elena said she took a sip of water, then she turned back to Mateo. Está muy flaca, seguramente es enferma o vegana. Translation. She is too skinny, she is probably sick or vegan. Does she cook for you? Elena asked. In English sometimes, Mateo said. We order out a lot, we're busy. Elena shook her head, a tragedy. Una mujer que no cocina no es una mujer, she muttered to the salt shaker. I chewed my rice, it felt like sand in my mouth. She was doing it right in front of me, was insulting me to my face. Using the language barrier as a shield, I had a choice. I could speak up now. I could say, actually, Elena, I cook very well and I'm not sick. It would be satisfying. It would shut her up. But then what? She would know I was a threat. She would become sneaky. She would hide her poison. I needed to know the extent of it. I needed to know if she was just mean or if she was dangerous. So I swallowed the rice. I swallowed my pride and I smiled. You have a lovely home, Elena, I said. She looked at me like I was a cockroach that had learned to speak. Gracias, she said, and then, under her breath, estúpida. Translation. Stupid. That was the first red flag by the time the wedding rolled around. The field was full of them. The year leading up to the wedding was a masterclass in psychological warfare. Elena didn't offer to help plan, she demanded to take over. Mateo doesn't have time. She told me one afternoon she had let herself into our apartment with the spare key. Mateo gave her for emergencies. I came home from work to find her sitting on my sofa, flipping through my wedding binder. I wasn't expecting you, I said, dropping my keys. This venue, she said, tapping a page. The barn? It's dirty, animals live there. It's a rustic vineyard. Elena, it's very popular. It's cheap, she said. We will do it at the hotel downtown, the one with the crystal chandeliers. That's outside our budget. I said firmly, I will pay. She said it sounded like a generous offer. It wasn't. It was a purchase of ownership. We want a small wedding. I tried to argue. Mateo has a big family. We need 200 guests minimum. She stood up and walked to the kitchen. She opened my fridge, empty. She tutted, my son is starving. He had a big lunch. I snapped. My patience was fraying. She ignored me. She pulled out a container of leftovers. Myra esto. She whispered to herself, comida de perro. Translation. Look at this dog food. She threw it in the trash. I watched her throw my lasagna in the bin. Elena, I said, my voice shaking, please don't throw out our food. She turned around, innocent eyes wide. It smelled bad, Sarah. I am saving you from food poisoning. You should thank me. She walked past me, brushing my shoulder. You are lucky Mateo has low standards, she said in English then, as she walked to the door. She pulled out her phone and left a voice note for her sister. Rosatines Q ver el anillo Q ladio es tan pecago Q necesito un microscopio. Translation. Oh, Rosa, you have to see the ring he gave her. It is so small I need a microscope. I looked down at my ring. It was a modest diamond. We picked it out together. I loved Ivy, felt tears prick my eyes. She was mocking everything, my taste, my home, my love for her son. But the worst was yet to come. 2 weeks before the wedding, we went dress-fitting, just me, my best friend Jess, who didn't speak Spanish, and Elena. I came out of the dressing room in my gown. It was lace vintage style. I felt beautiful. Jess gasped, oh my God, Sarah, you look like a princess. I looked in the mirror. I felt a lump in my throat. I actually liked what I saw. I turned to Elena. She was sitting on the velvet couch, scrolling on her phone. She looked up. Her face remained completely blank. Well, I asked. It is interesting, she said. Interesting good or interesting bad? Jess asked, sensing the tension. Elena sighed. In my country, laces for tablecloths, but if you like it. She shrugged. Then her phone rang. She answered it on speaker. It was her friend. Sofia estás con la novia? Sofia asked, are you with the bride? Sí, Elena said, staring right at my reflection in the mirror. Como se ve? How does she look? Elena let out a short, cruel laugh. Parece una salchicha envuelta en una cortina vieja. Se le ven todas las lonjas. Translation. She looks like a sausage wrapped in an old curtain. You can see all her fat rolls. I froze. I am a size 6. I am not fat. But in that moment I felt huge. I felt grotesque. Jess was smiling, oblivious. What did she say? She's telling her friend about the dress, I said. My voice barely a whisper. Dial Q se ve saludable, Elena said into the phone, winking at me. Translation. Tell her she looks healthy. She says I look healthy, I translated for Jess, who went back into the changing room. I sat on the floor in that $1,000 dress and I cried because she was cruel. I cried because Mateo wouldn't believe me if I told him she called me a sausage. He would say, "You're misunderstanding her tone." Babe, and I cried because I knew right then that I was going to destroy Harry. Wasn't just going to speak Spanish to Harry, was going to wait for the perfect moment. The moment of maximum damage. I wiped my face, I stood up, I walked out. "I'll take it." I told the sales lady. Elena looked disappointed. "Are you sure?" She asked. "Maybe something with sleeves to hide the arms?" "I love my arms," I lied, "and Mateo loves them too." Elena narrowed her eyes. "We will see." She muttered. The wedding came, and when the toast happened, the insults were recorded in my memory. Forever now, we were married, and now the financial abuse began. Mateo made good money. He was an engineer. I did well as a designer. We should have been comfortable, but we were always broke. "Where does it go, Mateo?" I asked one night, looking at the bank statement. There was a withdrawal for $500, another for $300, another for $1,000. "It's Mom," he sighed, rubbing his temples. "Again?" "Mateo, we paid her rent last month. She's struggling, Sarah. The house needs repairs. Her car broke down. What do you want me to do? Let her starve?" "She's not starving. She just bought a new flat-screen TV. I saw the box in her recycling. That was a gift from Uncle Luis." Mateo lied. I knew he was lying. He is a terrible liar. "Mateo, we are trying to save for a house. We can't keep funding her lifestyle. She sacrificed everything for me." He yelled. It was the first time he had raised his voice at me. "She came to this country with nothing so I could have this life. I owe her." That was Elena's hook, the guilt. She had planted it deep in his chest. The next Sunday, we were at her house. Again, Mateo went to the bathroom. Elena was in the kitchen, on the phone. She didn't know I was in the hallway. She was speaking to her sister again. Si Mateo me dio $1,000 ayer," she bragged. Translation: "Oh. Yes, Mateo gave me $1,000 yesterday." I leaned against the wall, listening. "Le dicho el techo tenía goteras mentira, claro pero el niño es tan suave." Translation: I told him the roof was leaking. A lie, of course, but the boy is so soft. My blood boiled. "Voy a usar el dinero para un viaje a Cancún con ustedes, no le digas a nadie." Translation: I'm going to use the money for a trip to Cancun with you guys. Don't tell anyone. She laughed a cackle. "Why la gringa se quaya? Seguro pero Mateo sabe quién es la mujer más importante en su vida." Translation: and the gringa complains, "Surely, but Mateo knows who the most important woman in his life is." I pulled out my phone. I opened the voice recorder. I hit record. Repeat eso. "Rosa, no te escucho." Elena said. I waited. "Si, les seco to do lo que puedo antes de que ella lo convenza de cortarme. El grifo esos gringos son tacagos." Translation: yes. I take everything I can before she convinces him to cut me off. These gringos are stingy. I stopped recording. I had proof, but it wasn't enough if I played this for Mateo now. He might be hurt, he might be angry, but Elena would spin it, she would say. She was joking. She would cry. She would clutch her chest and say her blood pressure was rising. Mateo would panic. He would forgive. Harry needed more. I needed her to admit that she hated him. Not just me. I needed her to do something unforgivable. I walked into the kitchen. "Hi, Elena," I said brightly. She jumped. She hung up the phone quickly. "Sarah, you sneak around like a cat." She spat. "Just getting some water. Is the roof okay?" Mateo said it was leaking. She didn't blink. "It is terrible water everywhere. I have to put buckets." "That's awful." I said, "We should hire a professional inspector to look at it. I can call one tomorrow." Panic flickered in her eyes. No, I have a cousin. He will do it cheap. Just give me the cash." "Okay." I said, "Whatever you say." I walked away. "Enjoy Cancun, Elena." I thought because it's the last vacation you're taking on our dime. 6 months later, the stick turned blue. I sat on the bathroom floor, shaking, pregnant. We were going to have a baby. Joy flooded through me, followed immediately by terror. Elena, a baby, meant we were tied to her forever. A baby meant she would be the grandmother. I walked out to the living room. Mateo was watching TV. "Honey," I said. I showed him the test. He screamed. He cried. He picked me up and spun me around. "We have to tell Mom," was the first thing he said. My stomach dropped. "Can we wait?" Just until the first trimester is over? It's safer. She's family, Sarah. She needs to know. We went over that night. We brought a little gift box with a pacifier inside. Elena opened it. She stared at the pacifier. She didn't smile. She didn't scream. She looked at Mateo. Is this a joke? No, mame. You're going to be an abuela. She dropped the pacifier back in the box like it was contaminated so soon. She asked, you have no house, you have no savings, because you stole it all? I wanted to scream. We'll make it work, Mateo said, his smile fading slightly. Elena looked at me, her eyes went to my stomach. Well, she said, let's hope it looks like Mateo. The Rivera genes are strong, but... She trailed off. Then she switched to Spanish, muttering to the air, Oyala no salga retrasado con esa sangre diluida. Translation. I hope it doesn't come out retarded with that diluted blood. I felt the room spin. Did she just imply my baby would be disabled because I'm white? I felt a surge of rage so powerful my hands started to shake. What did you say? I asked. My voice was sharp. Mateo looked at me. She's just praying. Babe, no, I said, standing up. She said something. Elena looked at me, challenging me. I said. She spoke slowly in English. I hope the baby is healthy because mixed babies sometimes they have problems. That is not a thing. Elena, I said, it is in my country. She shrugged. Mama, stop, Mateo said, finally uncomfortable. Don't talk like that. I am just worried. She cried, throwing her hands up. I want a perfect grandson. Is that a crime? She walked over to Mateo and hugged him, burying her face in his neck. My baby is having a baby. She sobbed. I am so old. It was always about her. She looked over Mateo's shoulder. Her face was dry. No tears. She mouthed, one mio, mine. She was claiming him, and she was claiming the baby. I touched my stomach over my dead body. The pregnancy was hard. I was sick all the time. Elena didn't help. She criticized, you are gaining too much weight. You are not gaining enough weight. You shouldn't eat that. You look tired. You look old. Every visit was a barrage of insults. Half in English, half in Spanish. I kept recording. I had hours of audio. Now the retarded comment, the trash comments, the bragging about the money, but the climax came at the baby shower. I was 8 months pregnant. I was huge. My ankles were swollen. My mom and my stepmom, Lucia, had flown in. It was the first time Elena met Lucia. Elena looked at Lucia with disdain. Lucia was Colombian. She was warm, loud, and brown. Elena considered herself Castilian, European Spanish. She thought she was better than South Americans. So, Elena said to Lucia by the punch bowl, you are the stepmother, see? Lucia smiled. I love Sarah like my own daughter. How nice, Elena said. And you taught her no Spanish? Shame. I was standing nearby. I froze. Lucia looked at me. She knew the secret. Lucia smiled a mischievous smile. Sarah has other talents, Lucia said in English. Elena scoffed. Well, in my house we value culture, Elena said. She turned to her friend, Sofia, who was also there. Myra, estas dos, she said loudly in Spanish, gesturing to me and Lucia. La gringa gorda y su servienta. Translation. Look at these two, the fat gringa and her servant. The room went quiet. Mateo was across the room opening gifts. He didn't hear it, but I heard it, and Lucia heard it. Lucia's eyes narrowed. Her hand gripped her glass of punch. I stepped forward. I put a hand on Lucia's arm. Not yet. I signaled with my eyes. Lucia took a deep breath. She respected my game. Elena continued, emboldened by our silence. Es vivia ser una vergüenza, she said, looking right at my belly. Oyala se lo levan los servicios sociales lo criaria mejor. Translation. That baby is going to be an embarrassment. I hope social services takes it away. I would raise it better. That was it. That was a lie. She wished for my child to be taken away. I felt a calm wash over me, a cold, icy calm. The recording was running on. The phone in my pocket. I had the nuclear weapon. I turned to Elena. I didn't speak Spanish yet. Elena, I said in English, would you like to give a speech? She looked surprised. Me? Yes, you're the abuela. Everyone wants to hear from you. I handed her the microphone. I wanted her on record one last time publicly. She took the mic. She smiled, that shark smile. Thank you, Sarah, she said. She launched into a speech about how excited she was, how much she loved Mateo, and then she looked at her friends in the corner. Puro preparants. She joked in Spanish into the mic, pork voy a tener que incineral to do a es niña. Su madre no sabía ni limpiarse el culo. But get ready, because I am going to have to teach this child everything. His mother doesn't even know how to wipe her own ass. Her friends laughed. Mateo chuckled awkwardly, looking around. What did she say? She's just being funny, Mateo, I said. I took the microphone back from her. Thank you, Elena. I said. That was illuminating. I looked her dead in the eye. Can you hold this? I handed her my half-empty cup of water. She took it, confused. I have an announcement. I said to the room. My heart was pounding, but my voice was steady. I have a video I want to show everyone. A tribute to the grandmother-to-be. Mateo clapped. Oh, that's sweet, babe. Elena looked suspicious, but she preened she loved attention. I pointed the remote at the large TV screen we had set up for the slideshow, but it wasn't a slideshow of photos. It was a waveform, an audio file, and a title card that read, Elena Unfiltered. What is this? Elena asked. Just listen, I said. I pressed play. The speakers were loud voice of Elena. Pobre idiota, se casó con esta basura sin cerebro. Poor idiot. He married this brainless trash. Date. Wedding day. The room gasped. I had added subtitles. Big. White. English subtitles. Elena dropped the cup of water. It splashed on her shoes. Voice of Elena. Paras una salchicha envolta en una cortina vieja. She looks like a sausage wrapped in an old curtain. Date. Dress fitting. Mateo stood up. Mom? Elena's face went pale. Ghostly white. Voice of Elena. Le dicho que el techo tenía goteras. Mentira, voy a usar el dinero para un viaje a Cancún. I told him the roof was leaking. A lie. I'm going to use the money for a trip to Cancun. Date. May 12. Mateo's jaw dropped. He looked at his mother. You lied? About the roof? It's fake, Elena shrieked. She used AI. It is a computer trick. I let it keep playing. Voice of Elena. Ayala no salga retrasado. I hope it doesn't come out retarded. A collective gasp from the guests. My mother looked ready to kill. And finally, the clip from 5 minutes ago. Voice of Elena. Su madre no sabía ni limpiarse el culo. His mother doesn't even know how to wipe her own ass. I paused the recording. Silence. Thick, heavy, suffocating silence. Elena looked around her. Friends were looking down. Her family looked shocked. She turned to Mateo. Mateo, please, you know me. I was joking. It is just sayings, cultural sayings. She reached for him. He stepped back for the first time in his life. He stepped away from her. You called my wife trash? He whispered. You stole from us? I needed the money, she cried. I gave you life. Stop. It, he yelled. Then Elena turned to me. Her eyes were full of pure hate. You witch, she hissed in English. You recorded me? You think you are so smart? She stepped closer to me, finger raised. You will never understand us. She spat. You are a gringa. You are nothing. You don't belong in this family. She switched to Spanish. Screaming now. Eres una pura manipuladora. Te voy a destruir. Nunca serás una de nosotros. Translation. You are a manipulative bitch. I will destroy you. You will never be one of us. I let her finish. I took a deep breath. I looked at Lucia, who gave me a nod. I looked at Mateo. Then I looked at Elena, and I opened my mouth. You basta. Elena, I said. My Spanish was perfect. My accent was pure Guadalajara. Thanks to Lucia. Elena stopped. Breathing, her mouth hung open. Calat la boca, I continued, my voice low and dangerous. He escuchado cada palabra, cada insulto durante tres cosa. Shut your mouth. I have heard every word, every insult for 3 years. You, she whispered, you speak. Si. I said, hablo español y lo hablo mejor que usted. Translation. Yes, I speak Spanish, and I speak it better than you. I stepped closer to her. She actually shrank back. La maestra mi hijo retrasado, I said, pointing at my belly. Robista tu pio hijo y mi lamis basura en mi propia boda. Translation. You called my son retarded. You stole from your own son. And you called me trash at my own wedding. I leaned into her ear. Se acabó. Elena Purtis. Translation. It's over. Elena, you lost. Mateo. Elena screamed, turning to him. She tricked us. She lied. She has been spying. Mateo looked at me. He looked shocked. Yes, you speak Spanish? He asked. Yes, I said to him, softening my voice. I wanted to surprise you, but then I heard what she really thought of me and I had to protect us. Mateo looked back at his mother. He saw the fear in her eyes, not remorse, fear of being caught. Get out, Mateo said. What? Elena whispered. Get out of my house, get out of the party. But the cake, she stammered. Get out. Mateo roared. It was a sound I had never heard him make. It was the sound of a cord being cut. Elena looked around the room. No one would meet her eye, even her sister. Rosa looked away in shame. She grabbed her purse. She tried to hold her head high. But she looked small, old. She walked to the door. She stopped and looked at me one last time. Puta. She muttered, Adios, suegra. I called out cheerfully. Translation, goodbye. Mother-in-law. She slammed the door. The party ended shortly. After it was awkward, guests left quickly. Whispering, Mateo sat on the sofa, head in his hands. I sat next to him. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I said 3 years. He asked, looking up. You understood everything for 3 years? Yes, why didn't you tell me? Because you wouldn't have believed me. I said gently, you love her, you would have made excuses. I needed you to see it. I needed you to hear the theft. He sighed. He knew I was right. I feel so stupid, he said. She played me my whole life. She's a narcissist. Mateo, it's not your fault. He laid his head on my shoulder. She called our baby that word. I know. I can't forgive that. I know. We sat in silence for a long time then. His phone pinged. It was a text from Elena TXT. I'm in the hospital. My heart, you are killing me. Classic. Don't answer it, I said. I won't. He said. He blocked the number. Then he looked at me. So, he said, a small smile appearing, say something in Spanish. Te amo. Tonto, I said. I love you, dummy. He laughed. It was a sad laugh, but it was real. The next few months were illegal. Battle. We audited our finances. Elena had borrowed over $40,000 in 3 years. We couldn't get it all back, but we could stop the bleeding. We cut off her access to our accounts. We changed the locks. Mateo sent her a formal letter, no contact. No visiting the baby. She tried to fight back. She went on Facebook. She wrote long posts about how her evil gringa daughter-in-law had brainwashed her son. She tried to turn the family against us, but the video from the baby shower had circulated. Cousin Julian had recorded my reveal on his phone. It went viral in the family group chat. Everyone knew her sister. Rosa stopped talking to her. Her friends were embarrassed to be seen with her. She was isolated. And then the baby came. Leo. He was perfect, healthy, beautiful, and he looked exactly like me. Blonde hair, blue eyes. I posted a photo on Instagram. Welcome to the world. Leo. I knew Elena has a fake account to stalk me. I knew she would see ID. Added a caption in Spanish. Just for her, y es perfecto, y no necesita tu dinero ni tu odio. Translation, he is perfect, and he doesn't need your money or your hate. We were at the park. Leo was learning to walk. I saw a woman watching us from behind a tree. It was Elena. She looked terrible. Her hair was gray, her clothes looked worn. She was watching Leo with a hunger in her eyes. Mateo saw her too. He stiffened. She took a step forward. Mateo! She called out. Her voice was weak. Poor favor, just one look. Mateo looked at me. It's your choice. I said. Mateo looked at his mother. Then he looked at his son. He picked Leo up. No, Mateo said firmly, but I am his abuela. She cried. You lost that right when you wished him harm, Mateo said. I am sorry. I am sorry. She fell to her knees, sobbing dramatically in the dirt. People were staring. Come on. Mateo said to me, let's go. We walked away, heard her wailing behind us. Mi hijo. Mi nido. It hurt, I won't lie. It is sad to see a family break, but peace is expensive. And we had paid the price. Leo is 2 now. He speaks 2 languages. Agua, mami. He says water. We teach him both. We teach him to be proud of his heritage. All of it. We see Lucia. Often she is the best abuela in the world. We never see Elena sometimes. Mateo gets sad. He misses the mother he thought he had, but then he remembers the roof money. He remembers the trash comment, and he hugs me tighter. I never stop speaking Spanish now. It's our secret language when we want to talk about people in public. We switch just like Elena used to do, but we don't use it for hate. We use it for loving sometimes. For jokes. Mayra ese señora, I whispered to Mateo yesterday at the grocery store, pointing to a woman arguing over coupons. Say, parece tu mama. Mateo laughed. No. He said, my mom never wore shoes that cheap. We laughed together. The ghost was gone. The mask was off, and I finally, truly, had the last word.